For a long time, I made small changes and tasted nothing. Didn't realize it was never my mouth. Whenever we get recipes and when you do them, we're always told to just make those incremental changes, right? So we can taste the difference of what the coffee is doing, right? And to an extent, that's true. You are going to taste different things in the coffee, but probably by not much. Probably to the point to where you're wondering what the hell you're doing with all this coffee stuff. I think there's a time and place for that, which I'll get to. But truthfully, I don't think that's the best way to actually discover, figure out, and perhaps even enjoy coffee. We have to go to the extremes. Either extreme with the water, extreme with the grind size, extreme with whatever type of thing that we're trying to do with it. Even to the point which I don't actually do or advocate for is either stir the crap out the coffee, one part of the extreme, or to not do anything, which I normally do. The reason why extremes are very important in life in general is because we have to see if there's a difference. We have to see if there's a taste that we can say that this correlates to this versus this correlates to that. And a lot of times when we make those incremental changes, it's very hard for our palate to really understand what's going on. So sometimes when you get a new coffee, you don't know what's going on. You brew the crap out of it. You probably grind the crap out of it, right? See if there is a bitterness, a lingering factor into it. Ask yourself if you like it. Make that bad cup. And then go to the other extreme. Severely under extracted, whichever way that you know how to in your toolbox. Right? See what sour tastes like. See if the flavors are like expressive or just dull or whatever it may be. And you're judging it against your own palate, not what anybody else is saying. And yes, to an extent, you're going to probably be back right at somewhere in the middle. But the thing about it is now, when you make those changes in the middle, you can go to the left or to the right. Whichever one that you're like gravitating to. And I don't think we do that enough, right? We make these small changes. We tell ourselves that we're tasting this and that. But in truth, we're probably not tasting anything of significance. And I don't think that comes into play until a lot later in your journey in coffee. And what I mean by that is that those small incremental changes, the nuances, that's when the palate is developed. That's when you're paying attention to what you're doing and seeing the variations of the changes that you're making and tasting them beyond a gadget, beyond whatever it may be that you're using to taste coffee. That's where we're at with this. I believe that's where I'm at with a lot of this. But don't get me wrong. There's been many times to where I've actually not been able to actually taste anything with those incremental changes. I have to step out of my comfort zone. I have to push that coffee. I have to see what it's all about in order for me to bring it right back. I'll give you a little example. Yesterday, I've been on dark roast because that's what I have right now. Sweet coffees. Sometimes there's some acidity on them, but most of the time, they're just sweet as fuck, right? So one time, I went ahead and did something out the ordinary. I used a switch, right? I did a pulse immersion type of brew recipe. 180, 190 degrees, something like that. Sweet. It was actually pretty tasty. And then the next one, I just wanted to change it up. So not a crazy grind size on a ZP6. The other one was on a fellow O2. And I use a relatively fast filter. The coffee was bitter. It seemed like it was over extracted. I didn't like the way that it tasted. And when I come back to it, probably later today, I'm going to be in a better place of like dialing in that coffee to my liking, seeing what it will say more so towards the middle or even towards a slightly under extracted version of it. And when I think about that, I think about other things also in my life that when I change just something barely, I don't get the same results, same excitement, same realization, same education as I would if I push past my boundaries. And that's what I'm saying to you now, right now, is that if you haven't tried it, if you always have been frustrated with all the things that you're trying to do, go extreme, especially when you get that new bag of coffee. Because when you get that new bag of coffee, we don't know. We don't know what it's going to taste like. A lot of times we just start with our starter recipe, right? You know, just to get a stroke on the canvas. But that second, that third cup, go to the extreme on both sides. See what it's all about. Because you may like it better that way. Because that's all we're doing. We're just dialing it in, just playing games. Playing silly games, right? And when we do that, I think we're going to be in a better place. A lot of times we ask so much for coffee. We don't even think about ourselves or see how things are actually when it comes to actually drinking this beverage or understanding this beverage beyond what the bag says, beyond what anybody tells us that it tastes like. It doesn't matter. Once that bag is sitting right in front of you, it's yours. I've said it many times. It's yours to explore. It's yours to like get excited about. It's yours to figure out or not. A lot of times I think of it as chess. Sometimes the coffee doesn't even know it's playing that game. Having a war with our palates. And I think as long as we play that dance with coffee, I think that's where the fun part is. I think I've mentioned this before. I was okay in autocrossing. Just okay. It's, you know, you race around a corner. And I wasn't too good at like judging the balance of the car because this is the only time that I was actually using the car. But a lot of times when I was with friends, walked the course, but something just turned on in them. They just pushed it. They just knew what the car was going to do. And when it stepped out, they took notes, mental notes. And then the lines started looking cleaner. Everything started to get a little bit more refined. It's the same thing with coffee. Exact same thing. And once we realize that, once we understand that, all we're doing is just enjoying and playing, getting frustrated about the game with coffee. We're looking at the microns if you're into that. We're looking at the paper filters that we have on deck for the time being. Either playing with a new brewer or using something that we've used all the time. Probably lately, we don't even realize it, that we're hovering around 206. It doesn't really matter. As long as we push ourselves past our comfort zone, that's all that matters. And then that's when you'll find the ideal coffee for you. More so for that moment, for the end of that bag. And I think you're going to be a lot better person because now you're able to actually experience it for what it is. Drink it for what it is. And that's mainly because you're making those big leaps in taste and experiments. And remember, you have all the tools in your toolbox. I keep saying that because it's true. A recipe is just incremental decisions that we're making throughout the process of trying to get something out of it at the end. So we can tweak this small piece of the puzzle with the extreme natures of it. I think we're going to be in a better place. Try it out if you haven't. Have you done that before? Is that something that feels kind of iffy on you whenever you do push past your comfort zone? Because that's all we're doing. Pushing past our comfort zone. Doing things that we're not used to. And I think that's probably part of the problem. Because we stay so fixated on the recipes that we're doing. But we can still do the exact same recipe, but still push the coffee. So, back on you. Do you do that? Do you pay attention? Do you push it to the point to where it does make sense to you? Or if you just make those small little incremental changes, can you tell the difference? This is okay at Everyday Beans signing off. I'll talk to you later. Bye.